Welcome to the New Aeon 2012. This is Constantine, and today we're going to discuss the 4 levels of spiritual advancement. So before we begin, I'd like to let you know that I also offer distance Reiki healing sessions. It is an original Reiki modality that I developed and that I termed Olympic Reiki. You can find out all about that on the website. Also, you can check out a couple of ebooks that I have. The first one is Alchemical Miracles. It's all about figuring out Kabbalistic hacks to make the violet flame even more powerful than it already is, if you can believe that. And Planetary Power Spells, which is a set of original planetary magic formulas that I developed, that I used for a few years, and I found that they're very effective, so I thought might as well write a book about it, spread the word, spread the good stuff. On to the main video now. Okay, before we begin, I would like to say a couple of words about my several years absence from this channel. Obviously, those of you who have a YouTube channel, who are YouTube creatives, already know how difficult it is to maintain a constant presence on a channel, especially if you're doing, if you've got other things going on, another million things, okay, working full time and so on. We've got to sleep, we've got to eat, we've got to do shopping. So I understand that there's been quite a few times that have come on the channel and said, this time it's going to be regular, and I never managed to do it. But I think this time round, as you've seen through the professional intro and everything, it's going to be more regular. Now I've finished my major writing projects as well, because that took a chunk. That was basically 80% of my artistic energy was put into that, to finishing the main, the first entry of this fantasy saga that I've been writing for a million years. I'll tell you all about that in due time. But other things as well, I've written a bunch of non-fiction books. There's another one coming up, aside from the 2 that I talked about in the beginning. There's also a major non-fiction book that's almost finished. That's going to come out soon, so I'll be talking about that more and more from now on. It's called Flame of Seraphim Healing. It's an original healing modality that I developed. It's a long story, and it's a giant book. So anyway, I wrote a book around how to do the technique and perform it on yourself, because you can't do it on someone else. It's exclusively a solo thing. So anyway, cutting a long story short, basically I'm back, because back when I started the channel a little over 15 years ago, I was living in Melbourne, Australia, and I was there practically by myself, and I had no family support and so on, so I had to do a billion things all by myself, and although I managed, you just can't fit everything in, okay? Which is, artistic things, music, or running YouTube channels and so on. It was just too much to handle. And especially these types of subjects, the topics covered in this channel, channels like this, back then they were not as viral as they are today. So there was no real way to monetize things and to be able to make at least a subsistence, like pocket change from it, for it to be at least a little bit worthwhile, to be able to have the energy, the resources, basically, to continue putting more time and energy into it. So I just got burnt out. Okay. So anyway, now I'm back, better than ever. I'm living in Greece now, in a much easier financial situation, because I've got family here and everything. So anyway, but that's my personal stuff. But the thing is, it's just way easier for me from now on to be regular with this. Alright, so with all that out of the way, speaking of that book, The Flame of Seraphim Healing, I have a section in one of the chapters where I'm talking about the 4 different levels of spirituality as I've understood them, as I have classified them myself. In the nearly 30 years, I'm 49 now, I took the red pill about 21 or so, somewhere there, 21, 22, so let's say 20 to round it off, 20 to 50 to round off the time periods. So approximately 30 years of tumbling down the rabbit hole made me arrive to the conclusion that there are, I mean, we can break them down further into more levels, of course, all charts and so on, and levels and scales are arbitrary to a certain degree, but I kind of group them into 4. So there's non-existent, beginner, where's my, alright, so non-existent, which is level 0, beginner, let me turn on my mouse actually, alright, so level 1 is beginner, so level 0 doesn't even exist. Okay, I'm looking down because I've got my laptop on my lap. So it's quite, you know, I'm a little bit like I don't like the so-called muggles. Okay, I'm one of those people. So, you know, the guys that are much more into the new agey, the divine feminine type of thinking, where everyone is, you know, that communistic thing, that spiritual communism. That's what I call it. New ageism, new age bullshit. The people who think that everyone is one because we're all children of God, and we should be more tolerant of the people that are not at our level yet, and so on. No, it's the divine masculine here. Okay, that's I'm all about that. Like even my astrology chart, everything about it. I think I've only got one placement that's Earth. I got like a Virgo thing somewhere. The rest is all air and fire. So very much a divine masculine thing that I've been doing here, like all my books that I will be doing here. The books I write, content I write on social media, especially Facebook in the past decade. The output, I'll be, my output on this channel, it's all going to be geared toward a divine masculine type of thinking, and with that, there's not as much tolerance as there is on the other side, okay, on the yin version of spirituality, okay. So I am quite intolerant to the muggle type of people, because I mean, look what happened with the COVID. All right, we thought everyone's going to be awake by then, blah blah blah, and look what happened. Okay, who in their minds would have ever thought, like, picture this, like let's say back in 2010, or in the famous or the infamous December 2012. Let's say someone told you back then, you know, in about 8 years, such and such is going to happen with this massive psyop with that virus, and almost everyone is going to comply, even the people that were previously saying that they were so-called awake and all this. So I think that a lot of us in this scene have recognized that, basically what I'm saying, you know, that too much tolerance is not good at all, and it eventually leads to a place where, you know, look at what happened during the COVID situation, all right, the COVID psyop. So too much tolerance is not a good thing. Too much intolerance is not a good thing. So we need a balance of the both. Okay, I'm a Libran, after all. So you know, all I bloody talk about is balance day and night. So yeah, we need to balance. We need to balance out the extreme toxic tolerance of the New Ageism current, okay, of this energy that's spread all around the Western nations, this New Ageism thing, which is very destructive because it's too much with the tolerance, too much feminine way of spirituality, too much with inaction, because the masculine component of spirituality is to do with the will and with action, and decisive action, a more left-brained approach to spirituality. Doing some studies on certain things like ceremonial magic, learning the Kabbalah, Kabbalistic tree of life, and so on. So the study aspect of it, like learning actual technology and terms and techniques and formulas and so on, that's a very masculine thing. It's a left brain approach, and it's in stark contrast to this idea of just allow the universe, just let go and let God, and I mean, that works to some degree, but picture it as a yin and yang symbol. Okay, you need both. Okay, 50% of the approach that I was just mocking a minute ago, and the other half, the other side of the coin would be the masculine approach, which is like taking action, boots on the ground action. It's not like, I'm just gonna meditate all fucking day and all my dreams are gonna come true. The World War III nuclear bombs are not gonna, like, if my city gets nuked, as long as I believe nothing's gonna happen to me, nothing's gonna happen to me. So we've done this to death, this whole approach, and we've seen, it basically got us to that COVID problem that I talked about a few minutes ago. And I think a lot of people in this scene had a rude awakening. We just turn off the aircon. I'm sure I'm going to turn it on again a bit later. So anyway, yeah, it's I really needed to really explain myself on that one, because that's why it's level 0, because you could have just said level 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? But no. While I was writing that section in the book a few years ago, it was in the middle of the pandemic, actually. Around I started writing it technically in late 2017, and then I stopped, and then I took it up again seriously in early 2021. I worked on it for a couple of years, and I've put it, it's in development hell the past few years again, while I was working on other books. Anyway, so when I was writing that, I thought, no, I'll put the Muggles level 0, I'll call it level 0. They don't deserve to be called level 1, okay? It's 0, it's not and that's why it's non-existent, okay? They're non-existent. You're not even, it's nothing. It's that, so this is like, this one is 2D, two-dimensional awareness. Level 1 beginner is 3D. Level 2 intermediate is 4D. And level 3 finally is the 5D, that whole 5D thing that New Ageism constantly talks about, but has no earthly clue how to achieve it, how to help the brainwashed cult members achieve 5D-ness, okay? You see people, there's all these websites and stuff, and they've got various, the names of their sites or their brand or whatever. It's like various different variations on the theme of 5D. And they just talk shite, like they offer nothing in terms of techniques, steps to take, nothing, okay? So that's when spirituality is too much on the feminine side, where it's like too much intuition, subjectivism, no practicality at all, no workable techniques, replicable workable techniques that work every time under laboratory conditions. If you apply them the way that they've been prescribed, they will work every time if you do them correctly. That type of thing, it doesn't exist, okay, in the feminine, in the yin, in the feminine imbalanced spirituality, and that's the bulk of New Ageism. That's practically 80% of it. So, all right, so that's the bulk of that's like an overview of the pyramid or spiritual advancement, let's call it. I mean, I've made it into a pyramid, but it's not like a pyramid. I just call it spiritual advancement levels. Okay, so here I've changed the titles to show like where the person is at, like their understand, like kind of like what group they belong to, what religion they follow. So in level 0, it's either organized religion or scientism, or we could say just the person is just a normie Christian or whatever. I'm saying Christian because, you know, I'm addressing majority Christian countries, the Anglosphere obviously, but whatever religion it may be. Buddhism is probably the least worst of all of them, but especially Abrahamism, absolutely horrible, those three. So Christianity is probably the better of the three, of, you know, Judaism, Islam and Christianity, because it's more European based, but anyway, that's for another video. So yeah, so you either have organized religion or atheism, okay? Scientism, it's like the idea, it's like a word that's coined that's supposed to mean, you know, making scientific materialism, you know, of the five senses into your religion. Like, so I only believe what I can see with my, you know, that what I can perceive, whatever I can perceive with my five senses. Those morons. So these are the people that are down here. And then level 1 is when they wake up, they take the red pill and they go into New Ageism. When you break away from organized religion, naturally in the West, you're gonna stumble upon New Ageism, right? So you have the Dunning-Kruger effect a lot of the time there with these people. They're here. So level 1, this is what you've got to understand. This is level 1. This has only just begun. You've only just begun. You've just opened the door. It's like a kid that's started kindergarten. Over here, they're dead. They're nothing. They're just a child that can't even speak. It's like when the kid is like 6 months old and hasn't even learned how to speak yet. That's here. Okay, level 0. That's why it's 0. You're a complete 0. You can't even think or speak. So level 1, it's like the developmental equivalent of going to kindergarten, but because of the Dunning-Kruger effect, which for those who don't know, that means when a person, that describes the phenomenon of when a person has only just started to learn something, they get over-enthusiastic and they overestimate their abilities and their knowledge, and they think they know it all. They think they're level 3. They think they're a master magician suddenly because they watched 5 YouTube videos. They watched 5 YouTube videos about, you know, visualization or something, and now they're a master magician. Okay. And those of us who've been down the rabbit hole for pretty much 30 years, these people that are like, oh, when did you wake up? Oh, you know, I woke up. They woke up 6 months ago. And they're lecturing people that have been awake for longer than these jokers have been alive. All right, so you see that a lot. So that's level 1, and it's nothing. It's nothing. When you're New Ager, you're full of it. I mean, there are a lot of the concepts might be based on like meditation is great. You know, meditation, Reiki. I mean, I do Reiki. You know. I'm trying to restart it as a job again, like I did in the past for a while. For about a decade ago, I did it on a part-time basis. But now I have evolved. I developed my own modality and so on. So I'm going to take it more seriously now. But Reiki, meditation, NoFap, a couple of other things are okay. Okay, some forms of energy healing. There's not many, but there's a handful of them that work. Okay. But the vast majority of New Ages is just BS. That's why a lot of people woke up to it, you know, in the past decade roughly, you know. This term New Age bullshit has been popularized more and more. So then a lot of the people never break out of this, okay? And some of them are so fucking dumb. I've seen this. Like a lot of this, not a lot of that, all the stuff I talk about on both of my YouTube channels are from reality, from things I've seen. I'm not like an armchair whatever, okay? I'm not an armchair politics guy. I'm not an armchair occultists or anything, armchair, whatever, fill in the blank. Like I've experienced things and I've seen them in real life, face to face. Only then will I talk about certain topics authoritatively. All right. So I've seen this. I knew a Reiki healer who I used to go to. She was my favorite. She was the best one that I'd seen. And I regularly went for sessions, and she was all into this stuff. And then at some point, she reverted back down there. She went back to religion. She went into Catholicism again. And a guy, and I know someone else as well, who was all into this stuff. Like he had gone even up here, or maybe he was sort of like level 2.5, like between the beginner magician and master magician. He was doing really well, and then he went all the way back down to religion again. So a lot of the times, not only do people just get stuck here and they think that they're level 1, but they actually, in their heads, they think they're level 3s. A lot of the time they revert, they relapse, let's say. Okay, we can use the term relapse that people use for addictions and so on. I mean, because it is like being brainwashed or being, a druggie or an alcoholic or part of a cult. Okay, so it is like relapsing, like people that are born into cults, or they get recruited when they're very young or born into them. A lot of the time you get a high percentage of people never being able to break away, so they go back into the cult. Okay, so it's like this constant loop of they try to wake up, they try to break away from it, and then they revert back. Or it's like whatever. It's like those people that quit smoking. Every time someone tells me I quit smoking, I'm like, what's this, the 5th time, the 6th time? How many times have you quit and started again? Almost every single person that I've known very few people that just quit smoking just once and never do it again. All right, so the same thing applies with this. So a lot of them, not only, like I said, not only they're clueless, and because of the Dunning-Kruger effect, in their minds they're like level 3. It's like the Star Wars thing, you still have much to learn, my young apprentice, that type of thing. I mean, the master is reminding the newbie that you don't know it all just because you learn a bunch of tricks in the first year. I've been doing this for 50, so calm down. I mean, it's demeaning. It seems harsh, and it seems like the person is putting you down when they tell you that in the beginning. But it's way better to do that to you rather than just let you, live with your delusions and think that you're the man now, you're the master, just because you saw a couple of YouTube videos about something, okay, or read a couple of books or whatever. Someone like they started, I've been meditating for 6 months, bro. Who gives a shit? Everyone meditates, it's like, but it's a problem. It's a problem because people, a lot of people get stuck on this level, okay? So then, if they manage to break away, and this is what, the reason it's pyramidal is because it's it's lesser and less, it's like a smaller and smaller percentage. The vast majority of humans are stuck on this, and then they think they wake up, and they go to New Ageism, and they think it's the be-all, end-all, like they look at the occultism stuff. Don't mention Aleister Crowley to these people. Like they hear Crowley, and it's like when you see a cockroach. That's kind of like that visceral, reptilian, knee-jerk, fight or flight reaction, right? Like Crowley. If you study his stuff, if you look at his stuff, it's like absolute opposite. Your reaction should be the absolute opposite to that. But people are just ignorant because they just listen to the hype. They listen to what people say instead of, study it. Read it for yourself. Don't listen to what people say about it. So, what other people say about it. So yeah, they get stuck here. They think that hexagram is satanic, and like all this misinformation that has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with true spirituality and occultism. They make up all this BS about what the Kabbalah actually is and isn't. I would say that at this level there's also that it's the beginnings of that whole what was his name? Jordan Maxwell, I guess, was the main guy that popularized that. It was that the whole astrotheological view of the planets, of planetary magic, of religion. People not understanding that the planets, the sun included, of course, are actually living entities. So when we say the Christ Spirit, it's not just allegorical, it's not symbolic, it's an actual living being, an entity, and that's what actually indwelt in Jesus the man from 30 to 33 years old. Okay, that actually happened, and it's not me being, pretending I'm here, coming out here and teaching people and writing books and authoritatively saying this is how it is. Me pretending I'm here and then I'm actually really here. No, that's not what that means. Understanding the Bible in its proper mystical sense, these are the people that are up here. It puts you up at this level when you truly understand that behind all the great religions, including Christianity, is the secret doctrine. The term that Madame Blavatsky came up with, which is basically the underlying truths that are behind all religions. All right, so this astrotheology bullshit is somewhere between level 1 and level 2. Like perhaps some people evolve a little bit beyond the typical New Agey crap, all about vision boards and visualizations and all that stuff, and nothing can harm you if you don't think negatively, all that crap, which is like I said before, very feminine imbalanced, and it's just very quite divorced from reality. Okay. And then they start dabbling a little bit here, so that's why I've called that level 2 beginner magician. It's the third level overall out of the 4, so it's quite advanced, but you could call it intermediate. This could be intermediate and this level 3 could be advanced, but the intermediate, however, you're just a beginner as a magician, because to get to the magician level, to the level where you understand that the planets are living entities, that this thing we call the Christ Spirit is the actual entity of the sun, and that's actually, it really is our God, of not the God of the multiverse, but the local expression thereof. Okay, the local representative in our solar system. So it's literally an entity, a spiritual entity, the sun. Okay, it's not just a ball. It's not like the planets are just not just balls of rock just spinning in space randomly for no reason. Okay, this is why astrology is so powerful. This is why planetary magic works like nothing else does. Trust me, there's nothing more powerful in terms of manifesting. Alright, so all the other crap, the manifesting, is like, oh, just visualize, just believe it's going to happen. That's why this is down here. When you start getting to these levels, you start looking at the ceremonial magic, you start understanding that, oh, wait a minute, the planetary forces are actually real. Okay, it wasn't just the ancients being quote unquote stupid because they didn't know scientism, you see. We're so smart with our materialistic science today, aren't we? And we thought the ancients were all dumb. They didn't, the Greeks and the Romans didn't imagine the planet Mars as Ares, or the Roman Mars, as, this soldier with a spear, the helmet and the spear and everything. That wasn't just symbolic. Okay, it was it was a way to symbolize the actual energy of the planet, like it's a real planetary force, okay? And that was just it's a way for people to better understand, you know, it's designed like that so that the human mind can understand through imagery what that particular planetary force, what its attributes are, what it does, okay? But the force is real, okay? If you enjoy the content of this channel, then there's a good chance you'll also like my fantasy book, Lifting the Curse Volume 1, Guardian of the Magic. Set in the modern day, it's full of action, fantasy, and page-turning conspiracy thriller. It even has numerous references to real-life geopolitical events and conspiracy theories, including a somewhat prophetic mention of the current 2025 Iran-Israel conflict. Because that's why you have so many pantheons in so many cultures that were unconnected back in the day, okay, because they didn't have Wi-Fi and airplanes. Cultures that we have proven that have never come into contact with each other, and yet they had pretty much identical pantheons, okay, and they were all basically their pantheons were anthropomorphized versions of the planetary archetypes, okay, and you see a constant theme of the number 7, 9, 12, okay, because these are real, they are objectively real. It's like objectively true spirituality. It's not subjective, okay? So they were tapping into things, into the macrocosmic reality of the planets and so on, constellations, okay, the 12 archetypes of the zodiac, all this stuff, which is real. So that's why practically every culture known to us, they had the same archetypes and expressed them. They expressed them in human language and imagery in their own topical ways, but basically they were talking about the same thing. So you have to get up here to start understanding that. So when you do get to the beginner level, to the level of beginner magician, which is really the intermediate level overall, once you're able to really take this seriously and go all the way, because there's a lot of work you have to do, a lot of inner work. When you reach this level, you got to give up on a lot of previous held ideas. You know, you got to let go of a lot of things that you believed at this level you thought you knew it all, due to the Dunning-Kruger effect. You know, we all go through that, I guess, in the beginner stages. And you have to discard a lot of the BS that you were taught down here. And once you realize that this level is kind of like organized religion 2.0, like a Christianity 2.0, it's like another another level of the matrix programming. But so you think you're going free, you're doing, becoming a new ager and waking up, but all you're doing is just replacing religion or scientism with another matrix construct. Okay. But then when you break out of that, this is when you start to truly awaken to the fact that, okay, there's this thing called the secret doctrine, what I said a few minutes ago, which is basically the underlying spiritual truths upon which every religion that's ever existed, exists, and will exist, based on, because these truths are eternal. Okay, you can't. It's impossible to base a religion or a magical order or anything on any other truths other than these, because they are. So basically, that's why all religions, they're basically saying the same thing, but they're just addressing different audiences. The Olympian gods were set up in a way that would appeal to the Greek people. Okay. The Hindu deities appeal to the Indians, and so on. Okay. The Egyptian deities, they appealed to the Egyptians, but they were all basically the same archetypal forces. Okay, clothed in different imagery and different names that spoke to those particular tribes / races. But we're talking about the same thing. But until a person understands this, they will not be able to leave, like to fully graduate from this level, or leave from this level and graduate up to level 2 here. And you have to do a lot of work, like I said before, in order to not relapse again, because you can always relapse. Like when you get from level 0 to level 1, you can, a lot of the times you can relapse back to level 0. And when you get from level 1 to level 2, you can also relapse back to either level 1 or all the way down to level 0. Like I said, I knew someone who was almost at Master Magician level, and he went all the way back down to religion again. So there's always a danger of relapsing. So you got to keep, the only way out is through. Okay, it can be hard, but you've got to keep going, and eventually you'll make it to the highest level, where when you get to this level, when you're a Master Magician, you realize that you are a co-creator. This thing that New Agers talk about, create a God, all this stuff, 5D, blah blah blah, but they never tell you how to do it, okay? Because they're skipping these steps. They're not telling you about this or this, level 2 and level 3, because they think they're it. They think they're all that. They think they're just, it's just, that you don't have to go any further than level 1. It's like, I know everything because I'm a New Age now. I'm a New Age bullshitter, you see. But when you get to the true level of mastery, when you become a Master Magician and you understand that you are the micro, you are the small within the great, okay? You are the micro of the macro. You are all this stuff, like, there's like, part of these things have trickled down. See, it's all trickled down from here, from the highest knowledge that's found at this level. There's been a trickle-down effect down to New Ageism and religion, of course. But the New Ageism, the thing you hear about, like, we are all drops in the vast ocean that is God, and all this stuff. All this stuff comes from wisdom that's up here, like from the secret doctrine. That's like the truth, the underlying, the fundamental truths, the unchanging eternal truths upon which all of spirituality and religion is based. But it's just that at these higher levels, level 2 and particularly level 3, they're just much more detailed, much more advanced, much more profound. So that's why, as I said before, the higher you get, there's less and less people that can handle it. It's like the standard I don't know what the number is, but there's always like an accepted number of people who join the Marines. They accept the fact that, well, you know, we know that about 50% of them will quit, you know, or whatever the number is, I don't know what it is, but there's a big number of them that never make it to the end because it's so hardcore. Okay, some of them die. So to make it here, to become like the special forces of spirituality, it's not for everyone. You know, most people just don't have the discipline, the interest, the intellect, the tenacity, you know. It takes a lot of work. I mean, just sitting down and saying, oh, all I've got to do is meditate and have positive thoughts, happy thoughts. Happy thoughts? Who the fuck are you? Peter Pan? Happy thoughts. You know, this is not a children's tale. This is real life, and look what happened with COVID. Like I said in the beginning, like why I have these people down at level 0. You know, I will not give them the satisfaction of calling them level 1 because they're zeros. They're nothing. They're not even 3D. They're 2D. They're like that NPC meme that we see all over social media. That's what these people are down here. So to get from there up to there, it's like it gets progressively harder, and at every level there's less and less people that make it. Okay. So now a bit of a more detailed breakdown of what each level entails. Alright, so level 0, non-existent. So we have zombie, organic portal for negative entities. 2D awareness, operates almost exclusively on fight or flight impulses and societal programming while there's a typo there. I made this in Canva. I left the typo in deliberately to see if they're going to pick up on it. So it's too late to change it now. So the fighter operates on fight or flight impulses almost exclusively, and societal programming while mistaking these as being self-determined, intelligent. As well do it with the mouse. Intelligent actions. Is totally brainwashed by fake news, fake education, which is the education system, fake spirituality, which is organized religion, and New Ageism. So fake spirituality is both this and this. It's not only this, it's this as well. So fake news, fake education, fake spirituality, and thinks that only the 5 sense world is real. From a spiritual bird's eye view perspective, contributes absolutely nothing to the planet or to the greater good. Oxygen waster, talking mammal. This is why I took a couple of minutes to explain myself in the beginning and say, look, if you're looking for tolerant, feminine imbalanced, new agey type of spirituality here on this channel, look elsewhere. This is how I see these people. This is like the vast, this may well be 80% of humanity that I'm saying, and I'm calling them oxygen wasters and talking mammals. It is what it is. So, alright. Okay, is that going to go away now? It's annoying me. Alright, level 1, beginner. That's when you take the red pill, okay? That's like the taking the red pill moment. 3D awareness. So it's like when you first wake up, okay, and you fall into New Ageism, okay, there's nothing else. So basically, yeah, like this is like when the person gets red pilled, when you first wake up from either organized religion or from being a amoeba-brained atheist. So that's like when people say they're getting spiritual red pill, you know, they're getting red pill like Neo. It's like when they're breaking away from level 0. Okay, but you're not becoming Neo. To be Neo, you have to be at level 3. But still, it's like a early level of Neo-ness. Alright, so taking the red pill, 3D awareness. Okay, this is the first point when the person becomes 3D. Before that, you're just 2D. You're not even, you're like one level below just normal human. Sorry, but that's how I see it. I mean, there's no. I'm very intolerant to people who are not spiritually awake, like even slightly, even like a level 1. Level 1 is the bare minimum. Like I've said 10 times already. That's why I named it level 0, because level 1 is like the barest minimum that you have to be, in my book, to be considered normal. 3D awareness, like human. Below that, it's 0. Like religious normies and atheists, you're level 0. So, initial awakening from the Maya of Malkuth. Malkuth is a Kabbalistic term for the earth realm. We'll get into that, because from now on this channel is going to be teaching Kabbalah and planetary magic and stuff like that, the good stuff. But as this phase is still very new, the person typically gravitates to New Age bullshit, as I've said numerous times already, which at the time seems like a good choice, as it is a step up from both organized religion and organized anti-religion, aka atheism or abject stupidism, even if marginally so. So it's like it's marginally better to be a New Age bullshitter than to be a level 0, but it's not that much. It's like a fat person saying, someone's got like 40% body fat, saying, oh well, I reduced my body fat down to 35%. It should be about 15. So anyway, and those of a more occultist bent may also get involved with low vibration earth goddess / nature magic, aka low magic. The types. That low vibration, very sort of earth-based magic. I don't want to throw shade at Wicca or paganism or whatever, but like it's just that kind of, I don't know. There's just like a low, like a very earthy vibration to it, and this is the level that the level 1 people, they don't shoot straight up for like the angelic magic and everything. They just look at the lower level stuff. People that do like dubious love spells and stuff and things like to control other people or to curse people or whatever, like completely unethical use of the occult. This is all at level 1. These types of behaviors. So if it's a New Ager, they learn almost nothing of substance in this phase. Useless and often outright deceptive channelings from benevolent aliens, the type from the Galactic Federation of Shite. Meaningless yet spiritual sounding aphorisms. I mean, there's even I don't remember what it's called at the top of my head, but there's some website where you can just go in and punch in a couple of words, and they can, you press enter and it makes Deepak Chopra style aphorisms for you. Like, it's all in jest, But, it's fine. I've posted a bunch of this stuff on Facebook in the past decade, and people like it. But there's a difference between true wisdom, like the ancient Greeks and the ancient Chinese philosophers and so on, or the ones from the Islamic Golden Age about 1,000 years ago, or whatever. They came up with great stuff. But all this New Age, this New Age wisdom, all these quotes that have filled the internet, come on, man, like 3/4 of it is bullshit, and it's all a lot of, and 3/4 of it is the same. It's like recycled ideas, right? And the third thing, one of the useless crap they learn is like the so-called powers of visualization, etc. I mean, visualization works, but until you've tried something like planetary magic, you will not know the true power of manifestation. You just won't. Wait till when I start making more and more videos and I start getting to the planetary magic stuff, or like if you look at the book, The Planetary Power Spells, that I've written, the section of at the end where I talk about my own experiences, my own wins that I've had through doing these spells. But it's just not me plugging the book. I'm just saying, wait till I start talking about it in the near future on this channel, about the amazing things that I've accomplished with through planetary magic. It's just, it's matrix breaking technology, really matrix breaking stuff. Not saying that these things don't work. Visualization, vision boards, I've done that. I had a vision board back in the day, about a decade ago. I was very persistent with it, you know. A lot of the stuff happened, it worked, like, because it's the power of the mind, you know. But there's so many layers to this, okay? If you have subconscious blockages and so on, visualizations and vision boards are not going to work as well as they could have. So there's that as well, okay? Like at this point, at this stage, is where, that's why I was saying before that you've got to do a lot of work, and the only way out is through. I mean, the only way out is through. Like the only way out of this is like going from there, you go through, and there, you break through, and then you go to that level. You can't go out this way, because if you go out this way, you'll fall down again there, and you'll relapse. So the only way out is just keep going. To get through this level, you got to defeat your shadow, basically. Okay, you got to confront your shadow, and that's basically, I mean, to put it simply, that's basically like clearing out the crap out of your subconscious, okay, all the trauma, both this lifetime stuff and past life stuff as well. So until you do that, you can't really utilize things like, you know, affirmations and visualizations and stuff. They will work, but it'll be hit and miss, or they will work, but they will not work as good as they could have had you done it with a clean you know, like with a trauma-free subconscious, okay? Because the subconscious is 95% of our thinking, you know. It control only 5% of our faculties conscious, you know. So basically 95% of it is run by the subconscious. So whatever contents we have in there, God knows what's in there, is going to control you. I mean, if you have something that says in your subconscious, whether you've gotten it from this lifetime or a past life, and it says, I hate money, I'm against money, I should push money away from me. No matter what you do, abundance spells, you know, visualizations, affirmations, vision boards to that effect, you're gonna, like, it's just successful, will just, you know, it'll be just out of your grasp. You'll be like, I'm almost got it, but it just never seems to work. And you find people going around in circles for years because they haven't broken certain patterns, subconscious patterns, which are from either traumas or just outmoded idea. I mean, maybe you were, a lot of us spiritual types that have come back in this lifetime as super spiritual people. I have this problem too. You'll find, and I'm sure this is going to resonate with a lot of viewers now, you'll find that you have many past lives of like being a monk and things like that, and that entails, of course, you know, almost 100% of the time doing away with the worldly things, you know. Okay, self-abnegation, saying, you know, I will not have earthly riches, you know, I'm a monk, I don't care about money, just like vows of poverty, stuff like that, right? And that carries over to the next lifetime, so we have that in our subconscious. So it's, you never know what you might have in there, so until you clear all that stuff out, and it's a lifelong thing, you can't just magically, even the most powerful technique on earth that clears that stuff from past lives, still, it doesn't mean that just 1 or 2 sessions is going to clear everything. So it's a lifelong thing. And yeah, it's just like I said with Dunning-Kruger thing, a lot of the level 1 people think, oh, okay, I know it all now. No, you've only just begun. Okay, it's like I said earlier in the beginning, it's the equivalent, spiritual equivalent of kindergarten. Not even primary school or high school. This is kindergarten, the level 1 thing. So New Agers are like, oh, I know it all, and I'm a starseed, and I'm this and that. you're just kindergarten level. You know, people, the people who follow the evil Aleister Crowley and do the Kabbalistic stuff, which is all evil, satanic stuff. How dumb is that? Like, can you believe it that there are spiritual people that think that? But there are a lot of them. They are the ones that are truly advanced, okay? If you're at this level, especially the people who actually believe that the Galactic Federation of Shite, number one, is legitimate, and number two, like a legitimate organization, and number two, actually transmits true messages to people. I mean, you're probably fucking dumber than the atheists. You should be at -1 level if you believe in the Galactic Federation of Shite. Okay, so that's why all this stuff is still at the beginner level. All right, and what's that last bit there? While incredibly, the low magic practitioner often ends up reinforcing the connection to the Earth realm instead of actively working to break free from it. Yeah, like I said before, a lot of these, the Wiccan type of stuff that, yeah, I mean, I do for many years now, I've been doing the LBRP, the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram, and many other things of that nature, the Golden Dawn, of the Golden Dawn tradition, from which Crowley was an early a member of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn when he was younger, and then he left and created his own group. He advanced, he took it to the next level, basically. So it's all interconnected, but like a one big family. This whole spirituality thing. There's no like sharp demarcation points. There's a lot of overlap. Like there's not. I don't know of it. I don't think that there's a single high-level ceremonial magician that will ever say that meditation is bad or Reiki is bad. Okay, and meditation and Reiki are staples of New Ageism, of course. So. Or yoga, things like that, Kriya Yoga especially, all these like super powerful techniques. But I'm talking about the Wiccan types that are very earth-based, like very, like just, you see it, man, like if you meet them face-to-face, or even if you see them online, like talk to them on Facebook and stuff, you feel this vibe about them, that it's not lofty, it's like very earth-based. That's also level 1, beginner level, because it's the person that's like, I've woken up, I've broken away from Christianity, and now I'm gonna do this pagan stuff, and I'm gonna pray to Hecate or something, or all these dubious goddesses and all these dark energies, or like dark aspects of certain deities, because it's like both light and dark elements of the deities that you can communicate with. Anyway, I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about when I say that, like the negative, more like low vibration aspects of this, Earth Goddess / Wiccan thing, or like they're very anti. A lot of these types. They're also very anti-archangels. They explicitly say, I don't work with the archangels because that's a Christian system. What system? The archangels are real. They think it's a system. It's like that it's all just a social construct. Anyway, look, maybe it's because I've had a Christian upbringing, so maybe that's a little bit of my Christian programming coming in there. I don't know. But to say that that's not my system and I don't do that, I mean, what system? The archangels are real entities. I mean, they correspond to various spheres on the tree of life and so on. So anyway, another 2 bullet points now with the level 1. At this level, the person is still very deterministic, unable to take an active role in one's destiny. While in level 0, this determinism came from a God works in mysterious ways place, like the religious people say, let go and let God, and they don't know. They can never give you an answer in Sunday school, for example, right? When you ask contradictory questions, it's like, well, God works in mysterious ways. So they were at that level at level 0, but now at level 1, they're a little bit less there's a little bit less of that determinism, but they're still very deterministic. So the God works in mysterious ways thing, it's one level up from that, or from the even dumber scientific determinism of the atheists, which think that the universe is just a giant machine. It's like dialing up Newtonian physics to 11. Here the person is convinced that their astrological chart and all their karma keeps them confined within a very limited window of possibilities or timelines, and that this is simply their karma and they must therefore endure it. This Hinduism bullshit. It's like, oh, I killed my wife in the past life, so now I must for the next 50 years be married to this woman that I do not like, and she punishes me. It's like they believe that you have to work through that karma, that bad thing you did in the past life, that maybe you killed that person or whatever you did, and now they have to torment you for the next 50 years in this life. So it's like a drip thing. That's so slow. That is too slow for me, sorry. I am into Western spirituality, the Western magical tradition, not the Eastern. So I'm into that, not the Eastern mystery tradition, which is it's glacially slow compared to the Western, which is the most advanced of all of them. So we'll get into that in due time. This video is just a primer, I guess, for what's to come on this revamped version of this channel. I'm new and improved, like I learned a lot of things in the ensuing years that I've taken a break from this channel. I've advanced in my learnings as well, so that's why the channel now has got it's pretty much like a not complete revamp, but very upgraded. A lot of the stuff that I'll be saying from now on. So yeah, that's not. I mean, the karma thing can be a trap. I mean, I can make scores and scores of videos. I could write an entire book about this whole karma thing being a trap. Mostly, I mean, it is real, but no one said that you need to put up with it. Like to say, oh well, because I did so and so in the past life, I have to put up with this problematic person or problematic situation in my life now, and I must endure it. Okay, because they think that the solution is that's like a linear time solution, very slow. You got to solve it energetically with things like the violet flame or the flame of seraphim, which is the flame of seraphim healing, the technique I developed back in 2016. The book, the non-fiction book I was talking about earlier in the beginning. So we'll get into that later videos. Okay, so final bullet point. While there's negligible improvement upon level 0's religionism, at least there is some understanding of the control matrix, and with some effort one can potentially start to ascend higher on the spiritual ladder. So basically what that's saying is that there's a tiny bit of improvement, negligible, almost imperceptible, but there's a little bit of improvement on the Christian, normie, and or atheist at level 0. But at least, I mean, but still, even if it's a very tiny improvement, at least there's some understanding. This is where the person starts to become marginally aware of the control matrix, and eventually, if they keep at it, they keep climbing that mountain of spiritual advancement, they will start understanding that, hey, look, there's more levels to go to. I'm just a beginner. This really is like the kindergarten of spiritual advancement.